Hi, my name is Dennis Linehan. I'm the owner of mySpa Sydney. And today we're here at the beautiful home of Linda Langton to discuss her spa and her experience of using her spa to date. Hey Linda.
Hi Dennis, how you doing?
Very good, thank you. Thanks for meeting me today.
Not a problem at all.
Sure. So if we can get right into it, I'd like to discuss quickly how you went about deciding on purchasing a spa.
Okay, so I'm a sort of person that does a lot of research first.
Sure.
So I ended up looking first of all at Google, which is what everyone does, and looked at some of the reviews with mySpa Sydney, and they were great reviews, so that was obviously the first tick. Secondly, just to put the feelers out with a local Facebook group, mums group, just to see if anyone else had experience with you guys. And some people had actually commented they had, and it was a great experience, so another tick. So then I went to the showroom and met with Samantha and had a chat to her about our needs, and she was able to answer all my questions efficiently, and I felt confident I was buying the right spa from the right company.
Fantastic. So Linda, would you mind introducing yourself and your family?
Sure. So I'm mum to Georgia, who's 28 with special needs, and I also have two other children and husband.
Fantastic, yes. Why you purchased the spa and how you went about that process. Would you mind just telling me a little bit about that?
Sure, yeah. So Georgia, with her disability, she loves the water,
Yes.
and we were putting a pole in at the same time, and we looked at what we wanted to do to get her swimming in the water all year round. And the pool wasn't really going to meet our needs for the winter just because of the cost of the heating. So then we thought, well, why don't we look at the putting a spa in as an option for her to give her that water hydrotherapy in the winter periods when she can't go in the pool.
Fantastic. So with your daughter and let's say your pool and your spa and your busy family life, I know you were saying to me earlier that you've got quite a busy routine, being a full-time parent, mom at home, taking care of the house. What does a typical weekend look like, especially in, let's say, your life and the life of you and your daughter and how you interact?
Sure. So Georgia needs she's got fairly high support needs, so I spend a lot of the time watching her and helping her get ready in the mornings. Then I'll take her off to her day program. Then I go off to work for a few hours while she's at day program, and then I pick her up from day program and get home and do the usual mum duties about shopping, cooking dinner, and all the things that Georgia needs and the rest of the family. Yes.
So and going back to how you found out about mySpa Sydney, so you did what most people will do, and you did I would imagine a Google search initially?
Yes. I pretty much put into Google that I think I might have put spas near me or something like that.
Sure.
And obviously being Castle Hill, which was close to us, your name came up quite as one of either the top or one of the higher searches. So yeah, and then obviously looking at the reviews and everything else that went with that list, that posting, that sort of helped me make a decision.
Sure. So, and would you say it was a combination of not just the social proof of seeing, let's say, our 5-star reviews and having that confidence, reassurance, and seeing that, but then you also had the additional layer of being able to be part of that mothers group on Facebook? Is that correct?
I think the mothers group definitely helped. That helped validate it. And then just the option of obviously coming to the showroom, which was close by, having a look at quite a huge range that you have on display.
Sure.
Speaking to your representative that you had there at the time, who, I felt very confident that she knew her product. She was very attentive, and she gave me that customer service that you would expect to receive. And when I explained my daughter's disabilities and what I was after, she was very responsive and knew or suggested one of the products that would suit what we were after, and spot on. She was exactly right.
Fantastic. So I think the lady you're talking to about it is actually Samantha.
Samantha, yes, she is fabulous. Yes.
Samantha's great. Every person that goes about investing in, especially something of a high value, such as a spa or a house or something of a significant investment, they always have that aha moment, or sort of that moment of realization where this is definitely the purchase for us.
Yes.
Can you describe in your journey, and if you can recall, looking back in time, when that moment arrived for you?
Yeah, look, I think it was actually at the first visit in the showroom. Yeah. Samantha spent a great deal of time with me and going through it all. And I didn't feel rushed at all, or it wasn't a high pressure sales or anything like that. It was more just a a chat amongst a professional that knew what she was talking about. And, you know, I gave her the options, and I said to her, oh, what about this or what about that? And I was just having a look at a few variables just to sort of, you know, keep the options open. But I kept going back to the one that I called, which was My Delight, which is the one that really suited what I had in my mind that we needed. It fitted the space because we were planning a pool at the same time. We'd already allocated a space for a spa, so all the engineering component was already done. And it just ticked the boxes. It just felt everything was lining up correctly, and I was pretty confident that, you know, from the service I got from Samantha, and the fact that the product's Australian made as well, that's obviously a big decision factor, because I know that if in the future anything was to go wrong, the parts are readily accessible. So that was a big defining moment for me as well.
Yes, and if I just may comment on that as well, it's a very interesting point that you make, and it's often a common factor that a lot of people do happen to overlook, the significance of having an Australian made and manufactured product. And again, it's similar to purchasing a car. I think you'd agree that if you have an issue with your engine or your tires or whatever components within the car, if something needs replacing or needs to be addressed, it's having that reassurance of having that 3-year warranty period that we offer. And then, of course, also having access to local tradespeople, and not just the tradespeople, but the parts and components, so that you don't have this investment sitting out your backyard that you're not able to use half of the year.
That's right.
So you don't want you want to avoid or minimize your downtime.
And that's especially important for us, because obviously that's Georgia's enjoyment is the water and the spa, and having that swimming is relaxing. So to have a spa sitting there waiting for a part, that wasn't going to work for us, and it wasn't going to be something that you know, would have been a good outcome for us. So again, the Australian made component was definitely something that was really important to us.
Well, thank you for sharing that.
That's all right.
Yes. And if you don't mind, with your daughter, would you mind going through, in terms of your daughter's neurodiversity needs and requirements, and how that impacts and sort of how that shapes your day-to-day routine and life? Sure,
yeah. So she is fairly dependent on me for most things in her day-to-day life. So, you know, having to, you know, provide pretty much full assistance for everything. And yeah, so she needs a lot of support one-on-one. So I'm kind of a second pair of eyes for her, because, you know, if I turn my back for a minute, she's into something or into mischief. So yeah, it's just something that, you know, don't often get to sit down and relax much, because I'm always on the go with her.
Yes, so I would imagine, based on what you're telling me, you've got quite a few challenging situations that can arise from day to day, or certainly on a week-by-week basis.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. And it's interesting because, you know, while she can be around the house and doing her own thing, in the water, she doesn't move because she's so relaxed and so calm. So the minute you put her in the spa, she just sits there and she'll, you know, flick the water through her hands or flick it up, or, you know, she's just almost like the water melts her. She's just a different child or young adult. So.
Yeah. So would you say with a condition like neurodiversity that it's akin to sensory overload in terms of creating feelings of anxiety, stress?
Look, I think in some situations, yes. You know, I know that with Georgia and a lot of her peers at her day program, they love the water.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a really strong connection with the water, and I'm not sure if there's a scientific reason behind it or not, but I just know that, you know, that Georgia loves the water, and she swims at her day program on a Friday, and that's the highlight of her week, just to go out and swim. So definitely anything water related, you know, in the bath in the evenings or a shower, you know, it's water for her. And, you know, I do hear stories of kids that are just so attracted to water for whatever reasons, but yeah, it's just interesting how water seems to be such a calming effect on so many people, so many kids with neurodiverse needs.
So you'd almost say that her spa is like almost her happy place. Her
happy place or her sanctuary, yes.
Her sanctuary,
yes.
Yeah. That's a very good way to describe it, yes. So Linda, I'm going to talk a little bit about the installation process and the delivery process.
Sure.
How did you find the process of going about, obviously a spa is one part, and it's great to choose the spa that's right for you. You've gone through the decision-making process. I'm sure at some stage you would have gone through the thought process of thinking, well, okay, how do I get this unit that weighs, let's say, 350, 400 kilograms? How do I get this unit through my backyard and into
Yeah.
position, and how do I connect it all up? So in terms of the installation, the advice, the guidance, the work by our team, both
Yeah.
at the back end and at the front end,
Yeah.
how did you find that experience, and how were you able to manage and cope with that? Getting it from, let's say, selection
Yep.
to order, and then allowing us the privilege to be able to coordinate and make that process seamless for you in terms of getting it into your backyard.
Sure. Well, we probably had a longer lead time than a lot of people would when purchasing a spa, because we were building the pool at the same time.
Sure.
So we'd already configured an area that the spa was going to go in, which required the extra concrete reinforcing as part of the pool build and everything else like that.
Yes.
So in that sense, we probably had a lot more time up our sleeve than most. But Samantha was able to work in with that, which was great, because we'd approached Samantha and said, look, this is what we need. We're not in a desire, like a great hurry for it,
Yes.
but we do want it in at this particular point. But we had to tie in with the concrete going down, and then having that cured, and then having the pavers going down, but before the gates went in. So there's a lot of logistics from, I guess, my end to make it run smoothly. But we're fortunate that because it was made in Melbourne, it was sitting in there. We were in constant contact with communication with Samantha, and said, look, we're at this stage now, we're at that stage. And she'd sort of say, oh, there's a truck coming up this week with a few others. Do you want it on that truck? And we'd be saying, oh, not quite yet, but can we wait till the next truck? And so, the key is probably a lot of open communication with Samantha and saying, look, this is when we're ready for it, and this is that. And once it arrived, it was good, because it was only a couple of days which it arrived into Sydney, and we had the team come out and bring it in. Luckily for us, we've got wide access. We also are on nice and flat ground. So it was a fairly smooth, delivery process in that sense.
Absolutely. So one of the things that you touched on was the coordination.
Yeah.
And coordination is a key thing, a key element of a project, from getting it, selecting a model on a showroom,
Yeah.
to selecting the correct shell color,
Yeah.
the right cabinetry color, the right spa cover
Sure.
color.
Yeah.
So that's the fun part, right?
Yeah.
And then of course you have to be able to coordinate it in line with your project. So
Sure.
you mentioned, for example, the concrete slab,
Yeah.
allowing it time to cure once it's poured.
Yeah.
You would have electrical requirements.
Yes.
And then the key thing for you was coordination. So one of the things I believe that sets mySpa Sydney apart, and I think you'll agree, is that we handle that process very efficiently. We make it seamless for our customers.
Yeah.
Did you find that to be the case in your project?
100%. There was no stress at all in that sense. I mean, obviously stress in building a pool, of course, as any big renovation is concerned.
Yeah.
But from the spa side of things, no, I knew already that it was made, and it was sitting in Melbourne just waiting for me to give the go button to send it up. So that side of things was great. And, the deposit process as well, not having to outlay a huge amount of money. At the beginning, it was just more deposits and progress payments as you went along. Meant that, my money was safe. I wasn't going to be taken for a ride by paying it all up front and then never seeing the product.
Well, I might just touch on that for a second. So, going back to your thought process in choosing mySpa Sydney.
Yep.
Obviously, it's a significant investment.
Yep.
You want to make sure that your money is safe and
Sure.
that your investment is there for the long term.
Yep.
And there's a lot of trust involved.
Yeah, of course.
Did you compare us to any of our competitors, or did you find any unique point of difference that helped you make that purchase process a little bit easier and with a bit more comfort and reassurance?
Yeah, look, interestingly, I didn't. And that's quite unusual for my buying style, because
Sure.
I generally do spend a lot of time comparing. But I think when I'd first gone to mySpa Sydney and I'd found what I wanted and it ticked all the boxes, I didn't feel that I had to shop around. It ticked too many boxes for me to be satisfied, to then think, well, why do I want to confuse myself even more and finding a product that might be, I don't know, $1,000 cheaper, or it might be a different style, or it might have this. And I think because everything, I say the planets aligned, but it just felt right. And at that point, I mean, yes, money's important, but there's a lot of things about a purchase of this size that you take into consideration apart from the money. And sure, there may have been some cheaper, there may have been some more expensive, but in my values when I purchased something, mySpa Sydney ticked all those boxes. So I didn't feel that I had to shop around and probably confuse myself even more.
Sure. So you'd almost say you were a fan from day one.
Almost, yes.
Almost.
Yes.
Yeah. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay. So back to using the spa.
Yep.
In terms of the hydrotherapy benefits and the benefits overall, what sort of immediate impacts did you notice or feel when both you, your family, as well as your daughter began using the spa?
Well, interestingly, now that she knows it's there, because she's nonverbal, she doesn't communicate like you and I do, she uses a lot of gestures. So she'll actually take my hand and walk me to the back door to actually indicate that she wants to go out in the spa. So there's a communication benefit straight away because she knows that that's what she wants to do. So, you know, going into the water, you know, just relaxing, probably, you know, getting all wrinkly and crinkly for being there too long. But, you know, you just can't wipe the smile off her face. She's just so happy in there. And it means that, you know, we can join her and sit in there with her as well. We can have the bubbles on in the seats that we sit in, where she has more of the, you know, just the water environment, like I call it soft water without any bubbles.
Sure.
And, you know, she's happy, we're happy. We can all just sit together and enjoy it. You know, or she could have the spa when we're in the pool, or vice versa. So because there's the two bodies of water, everyone's needs are met.
Sounds amazing.
Yes, it's perfect, yeah.
So I love asking this question. I'm going to ask the question of you. Don't feel under pressure.
No.
But since you've purchased the spa, can you recall any unique magic moment that stands out in your memory that while you were all using it or using it together, or something that stands out that you can associate with the spa? Have you got a memory that you could share with us?
Well, interestingly, and it's although obviously the spa was for George's benefit,
Sure.
But my 10-year-old had a birthday party at the end of last year, and we'd only just had the spa in probably a month or two at the most, maybe only a month actually. And some of the kids didn't want to swim because they didn't have the confidence in water skills.
Yeah.
But they were able to get in the spa because it wasn't too deep. So it was kind of, even for my 10-year-old, the benefit of her friends enjoying the water, some in the spa, some in the pool, but everyone was having a great time. And, you know, I guess it's sort of like the kids were coming on, oh, you've got a spa, that's awesome. So, you know, my daughter felt important because a spa was something that not all the kids have experienced. So so that was probably a good moment, because it then meant that while the spa was predominantly for George's benefit, our other daughter got some benefit out of it as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And with your daughter, Georgia, in terms of sensory regulation and the benefits of the hydrotherapy and the spa, following on from, say, regular use, have you noticed, or do you notice any change in terms of her behaviour, or sort of how does it affect her outside of the spa?
Yeah, look, she's definitely calmer. I think it's interestingly because there's still she gets cranky when I have to get her out because she's all wrinkly. And I'll often say to her, look, we need to get out of the water now because, you know, obviously you can only be in the water for so long before you get quite wrinkly. And she does sort of protest quite a bit because she doesn't want to get out. Obviously, I have to be her parent to know that, you know, that could cause some skin issues if she's in there too long. But so she definitely protests when she gets out. So I know she definitely loves it. So, and then, probably for a couple of hours later, and even that night, she usually gets a good night's sleep because she's quite relaxed and calm. And, you know, obviously good night's sleep's good for everyone in the household. So. Okay,
that's good. So that's another, well, that's a lot of the comments we hear for people that's similar situations like yourself. And just with kids in general, that the quality of sleep dramatically improves with regular spa use. So I think that's one of the associated benefits of being in a pool of water and having the jets at your back, and also the blast of air bubbles, just that circulation. Would you find the same benefits
definitely.
being experienced?
Yeah, definitely. And I think even just us as adults using the spa as well, you know, especially if it's been a hard day at work, just sort of sitting down, relaxing, and it just kind of just takes all your stresses away. So, you know, we can certainly get a better night's sleep as well because we've not sort of thinking about all the stresses during the day. We sit in the spa, we can unwind and relax, and then, you know, it's much easier to get off to sleep as well.
So another interesting thing you just touched on, I'm not sure if you recognised it or not, was sort of that bonding experience, that overall family bonding experience. Do you find a benefit to it?
We do, but the problem is that Georgia likes to spread out and take her around the spa as herself. So we kind of get pushed in the corner a little bit because she's kind of like, this is my spa. So yeah, we do all join it together, but I think sometimes Georgia likes to monopolise it a bit and say, well, this is mine, you can get out.
Sure. So is it daily use or sort of every couple of days that you use it, or how frequently do you share that bonding time?
Yeah, look, at the winter at the moment, it's probably about 2 times a week.
Okay.
You know, and it's usually more on the weekends. I think the schedule on the weekday is a bit chaotic with other things. So the weekend is more our downtime where we can sit and relax a bit more.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, it is weather dependent at the moment as well with the latest lot of rain we've had. But you know, it's still been a good outlet for Georgia, especially if we've got some time and we want to just sit down and have a bit of relaxing time and chill time.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So even in the winter when it's cold, you can still get a lot of usage from a spa.
Yeah, and look, that was one of our primary reasons for purchasing the spa as opposed to building a spa in with a pool. Yeah. That, you know, it would be better to heat a smaller body of water. You know, electricity is going up, so you know that, you know, it becomes unaffordable. And you know, a spa was something we always wanted to have as an ongoing, a long-term arrangement. So you know, with electricity going up, we didn't want to find that the cost of electricity was prohibiting us heating the spa or heating the pool at that stage. So that's why we ended up going down the spa path as well, because we didn't want to have the huge electricity bills of heating a big pool up.
Of course, yes. So yeah, there's a lot of secondary benefits of having a spa over a pool, I guess. A much smaller body of water. So the spa that you have, I think it's approximately 1,100 litres of water, and then you heat that up. It's a smaller volume of water. You're saving on electricity costs. It's quicker to heat up, and there's more of an inclination, more of a readiness to use that body of water than, let's say, heating up an entire swimming pool.
And I think the lid as well, if you compare the cover of a pool versus the lid of a spa, I think the lid of the spa is much more insulated. So it's actually keeping the heat in longer. So your electricity costs aren't a huge amount because it's maintaining that 36-degree temperature, which is what we have it set at. Whereas in a pool, you do get elements of, I guess, gaps within the pool cover. So you get that fluctuating temperature, and then if it's set to heat up, then it's going to increase, because if it's only outdoors, you know, 15 or 16 degrees and you want it to heat up to 33, that's a lot of work that pump's got to do. Whereas a spa, the cover's quite insulated, so it seems to maintain its temperature quite well.
Sure. So you've got a lot of things covered there. You've got energy efficiency, you've got cost savings, you've got reduction in heat loss. You've got greater usage all year round. So there's quite a lot of benefits, unique benefits that are associated with the spa.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Yes. In terms of aftercare and ongoing support, well, I know you liaise quite a lot with Samantha, and she's quite fond of you as well in her office.
Okay.
So can you and I know so on that basis, I think we should share with the audience that we're probably a little bit biased. However, in saying that, can you comment honestly and tell us a little bit about the aftercare sales and after sales care support that you've managed to experience to date with mySpa Sydney?
Certainly. Well, you know, we haven't had any issues so far, which has been great, from any warranty issues or anything so far, which is great. And I don't expect there to be any. When we first had the handover, when the spa was set up, we actually had the rep come out from Sapphire and actually go through it all. And interestingly, he was quite proud of the fact that he was the one that actually had designed that model. So it was good for him to actually see it as well, because he'd obviously come up with that design, and I explained to him the advantages of that. But the showroom and where Samantha is not too far from my work either, so it's quite convenient that I can actually call into the showroom before work or after work. And you know, I've had a few questions, you know, maintaining you know, using the little stick to check your chlorine levels and all that sort of stuff. And, you know, just those little things that you need to learn over time. And, you know, I've come in with them with the stick and explained to Samantha, and she's like, oh, just look at that one, not that one, and that sort of stuff. So, you know, again, it's that peace of mind knowing that she knows the product, she knows what she's talking about. And I know that if I had any problems down the track, I can't see why I wouldn't get any similar service than what I'm getting now.
Yes, fantastic. That is one of the things that we are recognised for It's something that a lot of people do, again, overlook, and I think it's important that we share that with as part of our messaging, because we do have that dedicated handover. So we don't just deliver you, put a spa on your property and connect it up. We come back once it's filled with water, connect it to electricity. We do that dedicated. And in your case, you had one of the national reps from Sapphire themselves visit your site. So that shows the strong connection and support we have with Sapphire, and also having that dedicated spa technician being able to come out, set it all up for you, make sure everything is running correctly, efficiently. As you may be aware, when a spa is filled for the first time with water, oftentimes you have issues like airlocks. So that's one of the reasons that we send a dedicated spa technician out, and it's all built into our cost. So again, the idea is that you're able to use it, get full and maximum enjoyment from your unit from day one.
Yes, definitely,
So I'm going to ask you some of the usual questions now. Okay. So in terms of recommendations, and maybe perhaps not even recommendations, but you've been through the process. You've taken on quite a big project in terms of your backyard and renovation. You've had some very specific reasons why you chose to invest in a spa, specifically your daughter, and let's say being able to provide to her the best sort of level of support and care. So that would have formed part of your decision-making process. But what suggestions, recommendations, pieces of advice, not directly related with mySpa Sydney, but in general terms, in terms of how somebody should go about making that purchase decision or navigating that buying decision when choosing a spa?
Look, I think obviously look at the values of what's important to you, you know, whether it's about brand, whether it's about the location, whether it's about the service. You know, there's a number of different processes that people go through when buying it, whether it's a house or a car or a piece of furniture or in this instance a spa. And I always look at my similar buying patterns are very similar in how I would come to a product and decide to buy a product. So I would say to people, look at the values in how you purchase something. Don't always go with the cheapest, because that can often backfire on you. And while you might have a great spa for 12 months, the minute you start having problems, you might never see the spa person again, or they'll start blaming this, that and the other. So I think, you know, the fact that we've picked somebody that's Australian company, it's manufactured in Australia, the fact that the Sapphire rep was, you know, lived not too far from here, that, you know, I've got that backup. Should I not, I'm not doubting that I would not have any luck with mySpa Sydney, but, you know, I've got the backup and the manufacturer not too far away either, the rep. So, you know, I think looking at all those factors, and ask for referrals, ask to come and have a look at someone's spa setup, because, you know, often reviews are good on Facebook or Google, but we all know that a lot of people can pay for these things now, and, you know, mates and things like that. So I think actually speaking to someone that's gone through that experience and saying, well, yes, I've had this spa, it's been great, this is what's gone on, this is how I did it. I think it just helps to reinforce that you're making the right decision when buying a spa.
Yes, and that's a very interesting thing that you mentioned, that a lot of people, a lot of businesses, unfortunately, do fake their Google reviews and fake their online reviews. We don't do that. And you can see that all the customers that post, they're all individual customers. And Linda, for other families, especially families that are considering pathways for dealing with neurodiversity for a family member, what would be your one biggest piece of feedback or advice when choosing a spa and going down the road of considering a spa for that approach?
Yeah, look, I think first of all, obviously you have to look at the size of your garden or the space you want to put it in, because that's obviously a consideration. You know, because we were combining our spa with a pool, we didn't need to consider a swim spa as such, which I know that do exist. You know, had our situation been different, I certainly would probably have considered a swim spa because it's got a much bigger body of water, and that would give a benefit to you know, more people to fit in there. Whereas for us, the spa was just a separate item to the pool. So I think, you know, looking at that, certainly, you know, it's hard with having siblings and also having a child with neurodiverse needs, that, they can find an activity they all enjoy, whereas swimming and water is generally something that, there's no skill required. Everyone can join in together, and that brings the family together. So.
Sure. And would you consider recommending mySpa Sydney, and specifically the spa that you chose, to our audience?
Oh, 100%. Yes, definitely. From the experience I've had so far, and as I said, from purchasing it just over 12 months ago to now, everything's been great. We haven't had any issues whatsoever. And certainly the spa that we have, it suits our needs, and I think because it's got that level free space that everyone can sit in, it's not the contoured seats. So, it ticks, because I think the contoured seats are a little bit deeper. So if you've got younger children, the bench seat that is in our style suits a different age group. So it just ticks boxes for a number of different reasons.
Fantastic. And Linda, that brings about pretty much a wrap to today's conversation.
Okay. Yes, all right.
But I always like to invite people at the end. I try and cover as many points as possible. But I'm hoping that there's something that I haven't touched on that you might be keen to share before we call it a day.
Well, I think the fact that, the showroom obviously got a wide range as well. One thing that you offer, which we didn't need to try out, was the fact that you could actually try in the showroom. So
or test and swim.
Test and swim. Yeah. And that's a good arrangement, because it means that you can actually get a feel. If you're new to spas or you haven't had exposure to spas before, and it's a considerable investment, you want to make sure that you've got the right product and that sort of thing. So having a look at the different ranges that you've got and getting a feel for, the pressure of the bubbles and how things work. I don't know how many other companies would offer that, and certainly not online. You can't get that option. The fact that, you've got someone there on a Saturday as well. So if you're busy working during the week, you can still go and check it out on the weekend. If you need a partner or someone to show as well, you've got that as a benefit. So look, and parking's easy. There's a lot of parking at your location, so that's always a bit tricky to find somewhere with good parking, but there's parking as well. So
yeah. Well, Linda, thank you very much for sharing your experience.
No, thank you.
And from myself, Dennis Linehan, and Linda, we're going to call that a day. And Linda has just shared her experience of using a spa, going through the process of selecting the right spa for her property. She's gone through the benefits and being very generous with her time and sharing the benefits and how you'd go about implementing a spa if you or one of your family members has neurodiversity and are looking for treatments or a way to alleviate and increase the benefits of your lifestyle when working with such things. Linda, thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we've just had the privilege of listening to Linda Langton share her experience of going about the process of purchasing a spa, navigating the neurodiversity needs of her daughter when choosing a spa. We've discussed how having a spa has increased and enhanced her overall lifestyle and family bonding experience here at our beautiful home. We've discussed and covered in quite great detail the process of how to choose the right spa, how to navigate the delivery as well as the installation process. And we've also covered what overall medium to long-term benefits Linda and her family have experienced since purchasing a spa. If any of these specific topics have resonated with you and you've got more questions or want to begin your spa journey, then we'd love to hear from you. Call in store today or visit us online at www.myspaSydney.com.au.